It started as a stupid idea, as most bad ideas do. Christmas Eve in our house was a regimented affair. Hot cocoa, a family movie, and my parents enforcing an ironclad stay-in-your-room rule after 9 p.m. They said it was so that Santa could do his work, but I was 17 and no one believed in Santa anymore. The truth, my parents just liked control. That night I'd had enough. My friends were meeting up at the abandoned rail station on the edge of town, a tradition we started last year. Midnight beers and swapping lame Secret Santa gifts sounded better than staring at the cracked ceiling of my bedroom. So I waited until my parents went to bed. By 10:30 the house was silent, except for the creaks of the old wood settling in the winter chill. I cracked my window and crawled out onto the roof, careful to avoid patches of frost that could send me sliding. The snow-covered yard below sparkled under a sky so clear it felt like you could touch the stars. I dropped down silently, the crunch of snow under my boots feeling louder than it should have. The streets were deserted, everyone tucked away in their warm homes. Christmas lights twinkled on the porches and in windows, casting an eerie, colorful shadow on the snow. I shoved my hands into my coat pockets and headed towards the station. The rail station had been abandoned for decades. A rusted skeleton of a building, its shattered windows and graffiti-covered walls made it a favorite hangout for kids who wanted to drink, smoke, or just be left alone. I was halfway there when I heard it, the faint crunch of snow behind me. I stopped and turned, expecting to see someone walking their dog or a neighbor coming from home late, but the street was empty. I told myself it was just my imagination and kept walking. Still, I picked up the pace. The sound came again, closer this time. I spun around, heart pounding, and scanned the street. The glow from the Christmas lights seemed colder now, their colors muted. A shadow darted between two parked cars. "Hello?" I called, hating how my voice cracked. No answer. A chill that had nothing to do with the weather crept up my spine. I turned and started jogging, my breath coming out in puffs of steam. By the time I reached the station, my legs were shaking, and not just from the cold. The place was dark, except for a faint orange glow coming from inside. I figured it was my friends. They'd probably started a small fire to keep warm. I stepped inside, the smell of burnt wood and something metallic hitting me immediately. "Guys?" I called out. Silence. Then I saw it. The fire wasn't a fire, it was something else. A circle of flickering orange light burned on the floor, its edges jagged and uneven, like a rip in the air itself. The metallic smell grew stronger, mixed with something coppery and thick, and there was something in the circle. I couldn't make it out at first, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. The thing moved, its body twisted and wrong, with limbs that bent in ways that shouldn't. It turned, and I saw its face. Or, rather, the lack thereof. Smooth, pale skin stretched over where a face should have been, but it looked at me. Somehow, it saw me. I stumbled back, my foot crunching on broken glass. The sound echoed in the empty station. The thing twitched, its movements jerky and insect-like. It began to crawl towards me. I bolted. I don't remember much of the run home. The world outside felt too quiet, like the snow swallowed all the sound. When I finally climbed back through my window and into my room, I locked the door and shoved a chair under the handle, my chest heaving. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning I tried to tell myself it was a nightmare, a hallucination brought on by too much eggnog or not enough sleep. But when I went downstairs, my parents were sitting at the table, their faces pale and drawn. "Did you hear about the Mitchell boy?" my mom asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I shook my head, a sinking feeling in my stomach. "They found him at the rail station last night," she said, "or what was left of him." I didn't ask for details. I didn't want to know. That night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, I heard it again, that faint crunch of snow outside my window. This time, I didn't look.